Information is easier to access, but understanding human beings isn't. The coaches and leaders who thrive over the next decade won't simply be the ones with knowledge, because the real story is rarely sitting in the words and the content. It's sitting underneath it. Have you noticed how much of what we used to call expertise is becoming easier to access? Need information? AI can find it. Need a framework? AI can generate one. Need a list of coaching questions? AI can give you hundreds in seconds. And that's exactly why I think coaching and leadership are entering a really interesting period. It's not because expertise is becoming less valuable, it's more that the value is shifting. Over the last few years, I've found myself having more conversations about what coaching and leadership actually need to become rather than what they've been. And after more than 8,000 hours of coaching and years of training coaches, I've also been leading teams myself and watching the workplace evolve. I think there are 7 skills that will separate exceptional coaches from average ones. The coaches and leaders who thrive over the next decade won't simply be the ones with knowledge. They'll be the ones with judgment, the ones who can see what other people miss, and the ones who understand what's really happening under the surface. They'll be the ones who know when to challenge, when to support, when to guide, and when to get out of the way. And interestingly, many of those skills are exactly the same, whether you're a coach or a leader. So let's start with coaches. Number 1, let's take the observation beyond words. Because one of the biggest differences that I notice between newer coaches and more experienced coaches is where they're paying attention. Newer coaches often focus heavily on the words that the client's saying, and experienced coaches are watching the human being. I'm paying attention as an experienced coach to energy, emotion, congruence or incongruence, to avoidance, changes in tone and changes in pace, what lights somebody up and what causes them to shrink. Because the real story is rarely sitting in the words and the content. It's sitting underneath it. And what I notice in the strongest coaches is that they're really paying attention to far more than what's actually being said. They're observing behavior, emotion, and the meaning that's being applied all at the same time. The second big skill, I think, is discernment. Information is everywhere, but discernment is becoming increasingly valuable. For me, discernment is the ability to cut through the noise and recognize what actually matters. A client might spend 20 minutes talking about a difficult colleague, but the real issue might be self-worth, or boundaries, or fear of rejection, or a need for approval. The coaches creating the biggest shifts are often the ones who can separate what's being talked about from what is actually driving it, because they're rarely the same thing. The third big shift is going to be congruence, and this one matters more than ever. One of the things I value most in a coach is their willingness to say the thing that everybody else is carefully avoiding, to notice when someone's words don't match their behaviour, to gently challenge what isn't lining up. And it's not about catching people out or trying to prove a point. It's more about helping people see themselves more clearly, be in the mirror. Because coaching isn't about keeping people comfortable. It's about helping them become more aware. And awareness often starts with truth. Now, the fourth big skill is regulation of self. That's you, the coach. And this is probably one of the most overlooked skills in coaching. The coach's nervous system enters every single coaching conversation. And whether you realize it or not, If you're anxious, rushed, distracted, or dysregulated, your client feels it. If you're grounded, calm, and fully present, then they're going to feel that too. Human beings are far more perceptive than we often give them credit for. And long before you've asked a question, people are already responding to your presence. And that's why I don't see presence as a soft skill. I see it as a performance skill, and your regulation is the key to that. The fifth one is about listening for meaning. Now, that's about listening no longer being enough. Because most coaches can hear words, we've already said that, but the coaches I see creating lasting change listen differently. They're listening for patterns, contradictions, for protection, and for possibility. They're not simply hearing what somebody says, they're listening for what somebody believes. Because underneath most challenges sits a story, and underneath most stories sits a belief. And that's often where real coaching begins. So the sixth one is about therapeutic modality integration. Well, what on earth does that mean? That means your ability as a coach to take therapeutic tools and techniques and to integrate them in the coaching session. It's about being able to meet your client where they're at, and sometimes that's a coaching conversation, but sometimes that's a therapeutic one. And I think this is one of the biggest shifts that we'll see, because you coaching and bringing insight alone doesn't always create change. Most people already know what they should do. They know that they need better boundaries and more confidence. They know that they should have a difficult conversation or develop a healthier habit. The challenge is often that their nervous system isn't aligned with the change that they want to make. And that's why understanding therapeutic modalities that help to regulate emotional state will become increasingly important as we move forward with coaching. And it's not because we want coaching to become therapy, it's more that understanding state is becoming essential if we want to understand lasting change. So the final one then for coaches is about being able to have directive and non-directive agility. For years, the coaching profession has debated directed versus non-directive coaching. I've never really seen it as an either-or conversation. I think the best coaches I've worked alongside can do both. There are moments when a client needs space to think, and then there are also moments when they need challenge. They sometimes need perspective, and sometimes they need silence. There's also moments when they need somebody brave enough, like you, to hold up a mirror. The real skill as a coach is knowing which response serves the client best in that moment, and not just blindly following a methodology because that's what you were taught in 1986. It's about responding to the human being in front of you. Now, what's interesting is when we look at leaders, many of the future-ready skills are remarkably similar to those that we've just covered for coaches. But I have got a definitive list just for you if you're a leader. And the first one that I think you need to be future fit is what I call perspective taking. Now, this is where leadership starts to improve dramatically because leaders stop asking, what would I do? And they start asking, how might they, the person in front of me, be experiencing this situation? And that small shift changes everything, because perspective taking allows leaders to move beyond their own assumptions and understand the reality somebody else is operating within. The second skill set is what I call relational discernment. The best leaders don't just understand the tasks that need to be done, they understand the people doing them. They're able to read the room. They're able to notice tensions arising, and they recognize when something isn't being said. They pay attention to what's happening underneath the conversation and not just what's happening on the surface. Because teams rarely struggle because of what's visible. The challenge is usually sitting underneath, which is why relational discernment is so key. Now, the third one is about regulation under pressure. I've never, ever met a team that needed a perfect leader. What teams need is someone who can stay steady when pressure arrives. And when uncertainty rises, people naturally look towards leadership. And whether leaders realize it or not, their emotional state often influences the emotional state of the team. If the leader spirals, then the team feels it. If the leader stays grounded, the team feels that too. And that's why regulation is one of the most underrated skills for the leader of the future. The fourth skill is I'm okay, you're okay positioning. It's one of the most powerful leadership shifts. It's about moving away from superiority into equality. It means that you don't do rescuing, you don't do fixing, and you're not looking down from above from your ivory tower. Instead, you're seeing people as capable adults with potential, responsibility, and their own agency. The best leaders don't create dependence. They create ownership, confidence, and growth. And the fifth skill is about spotting pretender mask patterns. The leaders who understand human behavior gain an enormous advantage because they stop reacting to behavior and start becoming curious about the thing that's driving it. It might be the perfectionist, the people pleaser, the persecutor of self, or the persecutor of others. Once leaders understand the protective patterns that people operate from, then they can lead differently. And I've done lots of videos about these masks, so I'll link one of them so that you can find out more information. But because the leader stops focusing only on behavior and they start understanding the human behind it, there is a dramatic uplift in the way that people respond. The sixth skill that I think leaders need to have is the ability to create psychological safety. And it isn't something that you can announce or that you can decide is happening in your environment. It's something that your people experience based on the way that you show up. And it's built through consistency, trust, honesty, sometimes through challenge, and always through respect. People experience it through what you do as a leader every day. And when safety exists, people tell the truth sooner. That's when performance really starts to improve, and that's when learning accelerates. It's when the team can really thrive. The ultimate skill is about, as a leader, being able to coach through reality. The future leader won't avoid difficult truths. They'll help people face them. Because growth rarely comes from pretending everything's fine or trying to cover it up. It comes from understanding reality clearly and responding effectively. And maybe that's the biggest message that I'd leave you with, because whether you're a coach or a leader, I think the opportunity is becoming clearer. Information is definitely easier to access, but understanding human beings isn't. Judgement, discernment, presence, relational intelligence, the ability to understand what's happening beneath the surface, those skills are becoming more valuable, not less. And the people who develop them will have an edge that technology simply can't replicate. If you've enjoyed listening to this video, I would love it if you could give it a like, because we're wanting to grow our channel and reach more coaches and leaders just like you. If you want to comment, I'd love to understand what you've taken from this video and I'll happily reply. And if you want more like this, please do subscribe as well, and then you get to see all of the content that we're creating just for people like you. Thanks a million.